Marty, talk to me about, because on the front end of this episode, John and I were just going through kind of the catalyst for this conversation this time, right? And it basically, he ran through a bunch of players that have either talked about it, taken time off. Alcaraz talks about it, last week. And, he's like, I don't know that I've ever seen someone so young be so honest about everything. Like he's he loses in Indian Wells and he's like, I just felt nervous all day and I don't know why. He doesn't hide.
It's a great trait. It's a great trait to have.
But also I don't think this, we come out the way we come out. I don't think he does this 10 years ago. I think he's the first one we're seeing of the generation where it's not taboo, or you're not like you said, 29 before it's like, okay, I'm a fucking adult. I can talk about what I'd like to talk about because it's important to me and hopefully it'll help someone. He seems like the first person who actually like talks about it in real time and doesn't actually care enough, and or the world is like a more comfortable place to say these things into. But as we see the same problems with the tours, as far as the season is only getting longer, I think, the social mediums, the gamblers who talk shit, all of the things that we both had to deal with are seemingly like getting more extended. Athletes are more accessible. The problems aren't getting better. They're getting worse. When it comes to length of season, when it comes to all these things, is there enough attention paid by the tours? Are there, should there be, or are there processes in place? Has anyone called you and say, hey, what should an infrastructure like this look like and how do we apply it? It just seems like it's something we talk about, but then in action, we add another week to the calendar and it's like, oh, it's physically demanding. It's not, it's probably more so mentally demanding. Like, I just feel like as much progress as we made, you still kind of have to pull it along. Is there anyone specific to the modern game of tennis that consistently reaches out or has implemented something for tours or players or anything? Is there some sort of ongoing thing where it feels like progress?
No, I mean, so Stacey Alistair at the USTA reached out and put something together. I think it was the year that Naomi and her French Open, I can't remember the exact year of that, but like that year.
It was 2021.
There you go. Yeah. So like that year, I was still the Davis Cup captain. And we put together a little kind of task force. I spoke with and I was, of course, like happy to do it and help and share my story, share my thoughts, everything. Right. That was like one specific year of it. Like I've never heard from, now I guess I could, be more proactive in it, I guess, and like go, hey, you guys need this. I'm willing to help, blah, blah, blah. But no, I haven't heard from them, or the tour or anything like that post that 2021. I don't know, maybe it was a Davis Cup thing or something like that. I guess they really wanted me to take that doubles player that one time, so maybe they took me out.
If you know, you know.
But yeah, that was a big deal. But yeah, I mean, it's there are so many more people, dude, that can do this too than me. I mean, there are so many people. I promise you, there are players that you and I know of very well that would be very good at this stuff, would be very helpful with other players and stuff like that. I guess we just haven't embraced it as much in tennis. You're right that the tour is long. Everyone's trying to get theirs while they can, right? It's a short career. It's not like we have no guaranteed money per se. So we're like, you're just trying to, you get an exhibition in December and you're going to do it because you got to pull the trigger on a lot of stuff, and you have to think about your career, but you also have to think about post career and things like that, and weigh the pros and cons of it. And so you can find yourself just playing like nonstop, and so there's really no breaks. And so it's the tour's schedule is certainly not conducive to like, your mental health, like trying to, stay on the road. We get a couple, you have a few tournaments here, and then you're gonna be able to have a couple weeks off or something like that. Or here's and maybe they do have, a number of someone that you can just sort of call and be a confidant or whatever.
But
I
that's
would
like,
be.
but that's like a lazy thing. Like just to say, call this number of this random person to tell them your innermost secrets. Like that's kind of like a fake effort, isn't it? Or am I
I
wrong on
would
that?
think, yeah. I mean, but like I would be happy to be that human. Like, but my point is, like, I don't. No one's reached out to me other than that one time. Stacey Allister did a great job of like trying to make it an initiative. I don't know what happened post that, but yeah, I mean, it would be beneficial for sure if they had help. What is that help, dude? Like, I don't know how that structure is. Maybe that's where the disconnect is, right? Where it's like, all right, we have these like psychiatrists that we have on staff, and they know the ins and outs of anxiety or panic or depression or whatever, and they can point you in the right direction, or they can give you thoughts and ideas and stuff like that. But no, I mean, no one's reached out and gone, hey, like, what do you think about this? What should we do here? Or that, or this and that. And I don't know if I even have the answers, dude. Honestly,
Yeah,
like,
but
I just,
but what you like what you know is important. What you're positive like you don't know is equally as important when you're talking about these things. Like your lived experience is more important than my guess. Right. Like it just is like I'm guessing I would be like, oh, I don't know. I fucking think this. So like you as a resource, like you can talk it off the ledge as much as you want, but it would be an obvious step. One other thing as you're going through this, and we've taken up too much of your time, and I'm sure you have like an ass kicking scheduled for this afternoon. But as you're talking through that, I'm going, okay, that is hard because you have hundreds of people speaking, a bunch of different languages, and they're spread across Earth for different moments in time. It's not as if you have someone on staff of a football team and you're always together, or on staff at a basketball team and you're always together. And there's like this, intimacy of profession where you can, the best moments of our careers happen because someone farted in a locker room or because someone said something at a dinner and we're cut up about it. So there isn't that shared experience with someone else. You said tennis is the hardest sport on earth, and I absolutely agree. Is it even harder from a mental health perspective, not on an individual? Because I know you said we don't, tennis doesn't own the challenging space of anxiety or mental health, but does it ask the toughest questions of any sport when you're going through it? Obviously MMA, you could someone could kill you. So maybe that's a differentiator, but is it really hard? I can sit here and say, well, there should be something organized, but is it especially hard in tennis because of the challenges, the global nature, how everything kind of exists in a silo? We have our own teams and we kind of cocoon ourselves and we all do our own thing. Is it the most challenging in tennis as far as setting up like a responsible infrastructure and actually doing it correctly?
yeah, because I think like every sport, you have to be great at your craft, right? Got to be good at hitting a baseball. You got to be good at hitting a golf ball, whatever. Pretty much every sport is, I should say every sport is, man, you got to be mentally tough, right? Let's just say you baseball and you're a hitter and you go 0 for 13 and you're just in your head, right? So it's a mentally just a brutal golf, brutal. Tennis, you're all by yourself, one on one. You don't have to beat the whole draw, but you got to beat that one person and try and figure it out. What's your body like? How do you feel? How far do you push your body? Like the physical side of tennis, I think is the differentiator. And yes, well, there are, you're a marathon runner. You leave the locker room, you're all by yourself. You're just out there running, right? Like I'm talking like major sport, and we can throw MMA in there, I guess, where, you can push your body. I just found as I got like later in my career and I got a little bit fitter and understanding of like, the importance of being able to run forever. Um, is that like you can push your body so much further than you think it can go. However, not everybody knows that. And you only know that if you're in the moment, if you're in the fire, if you're in the fight. And I learned that, at a later part of my career, but the part where like tennis, look at all these other sports, certainly team sports, guaranteed money. I don't know how that would work, like in my mind, right? It's just like, I'm gonna go out there and play this match today. I'm gonna make the same amount of money whether I win or lose. So why am I going to push my body like that much further, like, to basically the depths of like, okay, I can't go anymore. Now I have to go an extra 10%. Oh, and by the way, we're in Atlanta in July, right? Like, and try and figure that out. And we're
I
outside
saw
on concrete.
two pitchers yesterday pull themselves from the game because they had a cramp in their leg after pitching 4 innings indoors.
I mean, yeah, general fatigue is a good one. Yeah, that mindset, like NBA, like I got a couple buddies in the NBA that like, and it's just they can play. Load management, things like this. It's just crazy. And we talk about it. I talk about it with them like all the time. I just don't understand it. I don't get it because it's not in our mind. It's not a tennis player's mindset where it's like, oh yeah, we can just, call a tee or call a timeout or get, let's pull Andy in. We can talk about basketball if you want to, high school basketball. John, no one asked me about high school basketball. Andy's high school. Um, but like what's the motivation, right? Like what are you're still going to do the exact same things, and that's where the Kobe Bryants and the Michael Jordans and the Steph Currys and these guys are so rare, right? Like they always show Kevin Garnett's, they always show up, regardless of whether they know that they're making extra money or not, and they're not. Like there's the same type of thing. If money is your motivation, and money is a lot of people's motivation, and that's okay. Whatever your motivation is to grind. Dustin Johnson, like I used to play some golf with him, and like his motivation was financial, and like he just that's awesome. But like find your why, and tennis is like finding your Y, X, Z, W, whatever. Like find all of it in one thing.
And be in Tashkent next week, by the way.
And yeah, and just I mean, dude, the time zones. I mean, that was back when I was taking Ambien. By the way, do not take Ambien. Whoever's taking Ambien out there, stop taking Ambien. I used to take Ambien like almost, not almost every night, and like we'd have. I mean, Dubai, dude. Dubai is a 12-hour time difference than Los Angeles. So if it's 4 a.m. here, it's 4 p.m. there, and we're playing. And it's like you're playing at 3 p.m. over there, but it's through your body thinks it's 3 a.m. and you got to try and sleep and figure it out. It's just a nightmare. And that 2012 year was the year that sort of it all kind of came crashing down. But it was an interesting year for me where I was sort of reaping a lot of the benefits financially of like the 2 years prior. This is Andy doesn't worry about this because he was reaping those in like 2003 to, whatever. Took me a little bit longer. And so you're saying yes to a lot of things though, right, Andy? Like I'm saying yes to Hopman Cup. When I went to the World Tour final for the only time in my career, and my last match was against Federer on Thanksgiving, and then I leave before the New Year to go to Perth, Australia, which is on the other side of the world, and then I go Perth, home, Davis Cup in Switzerland, home, Indian Wells, Miami, Europe. Clay, Davis Cup, Monte Carlo, like and it's like, and it's not even April. So it's like it's a really brutal game. I'm pushing my son more into golf and baseball than tennis. I don't know what you're doing, Hank, but
I mean, I would do that too because I remember what your son's golf swing looked like when he was 3. So
those are a good golf swing. Though,
it's so clean. It's so clean.
Awesome.
I would do terrible things for his golf swing. Listen, Marty, we have a lot of history. So sometimes it's hard for me to kind of like compartmentalize your journey and separate it from like shenanigans. Right. But, you haven't watched it. I hope you do at some point. I'm so proud of you. I really am. I'm so proud of you. And I wouldn't have imagined, and I mean this lovingly, I wouldn't imagine your impact on Earth with what you've shared when you were 19 years old. I just wouldn't have. And where you've come, what you've done, how open you've been. I love you. I just couldn't be prouder. Thank you for sharing. I think you were the first through the door when it wasn't an open door. And I think you're largely responsible for, even if he doesn't know it, Carlos sitting in a room and just saying, you know what? I've thought about taking it off too. And I'll beat your ass today. Like, those can live in the same sentence. I think that's largely because of you. I'm probably biased. But I do think it. I don't need you to respond to that or confirm it. I think it. You should know it, at least in some small part. I hope you keep doing what you're doing. I hope tennis as a resource. I think it's a fucking criminal act that they're not picking your brain all the time and at least using your experience at minimum to create a familiar voice and face and someone that can relate. We can not talk for a couple of months at a time and fall back in because we have this shared experience. Tennis players understand other tennis players. And I hope that you continue to have the bandwidth to be there for others like you have been for, the better part of the last decade now. Gosh, it's weird to say how time goes on and this thing comes out and your lived experience. I've seen you, I've moderated conversations where you and Phelps have gone and said to the biggest world leaders and walked them through their journey. And I see these Uber CEOs, these guys that are like, the pinnacle of the mountain nodding along with their story like that. I understand, and everyone can kind of equate it to their life. So I appreciate you coming on. More importantly, I appreciate who you are, what you've become, and, all that good stuff, Marty.
Thank you for having me, dude. I love you like a brother, as you know, and we'll see you on the golf course in May.
Oh, got a big showdown, guys. We have a golf trip with me, Isner, and James.
Ooh.
And Isner and James have talked so much shit, but Isner's scared to bet like $5. Like, he'll chirp, and then we'll just disengage when it comes to actually putting up.
He wants like an extra stroke or something.
Yeah, he's like,
Isner needs to step up. He needs to step up and play that and just play that. He has said it multiple times. I can beat you. So James is like, all right, put your money where your mouth is. And like, he won't put his money where his mouth is.
No.
So he's got to step up and do it. But yeah, we can't. The issue is like you and I, like we were a really good doubles team, but then like we're brothers in the sense of like, we love each other, but we also want to compete against everything against each other. So like you're on the other team. So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, no. Because God, I know where this is going to go. It's going to be you and James. And I'm going to be stuck with Isner just in a panic all day.
Stuck with him.
That doesn't sound fun to me.
I got fished by submission.
Well, you guys are. You and I are the best. We can't be on the same.
James team. And I. He says we're the same right now. Like I don't know what to say. Like it's just
maybe set up a game with you and him then too. While we're at it,
I could play a match for however much prize money, and if I have to make a putt for $6 in shame in front of 3 people, I'll miss it, guaranteed. But I guess that's the way our minds work sometimes. Fishy, I'll see you soon. Love you, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Marty.